The Attorney General says steps are underway to take control of all ongoing prosecutions by the OSP, a move that could make the office lose its teeth.
Well, this comes as a separate case at the Supreme Court seeks to determine whether Parliament overstepped its constitutional bounds by establishing a body with prosecutorial powers outside the Attorney General's office. And coming up on your screens now is that post on social media by the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Remsai. It reads, yesterday, the High Court ordered the Honorable Attorney General to take over all the cases which the Office of the Special Prosecutor is prosecuting until such a time that the OSP obtains the constitutionally required authorization to prosecute. The order was given in a case brought by an accused person, one Peter Hyde, who was being prosecuted by the OSP. It goes on to state that in the case, Peter Hyde asked the High Court to direct the OSP to show that its officers are authorized by the Attorney General to initiate or conduct prosecution. Peter Hyde's lawyer argued that both the Constitution and the OSP Act require that the OSP to prosecute, but on the authorization of the Attorney General. The court records, goes on to state, shows, however, that the OSP was unable to show that it has the Attorney General's authorization, hence the court's order above. The Attorney General has no intention or capacity to disobey or ignore the High Court's order. Accordingly, the Office of the Attorney General will, in coming days, begin to take the necessary steps to give effect to the court's order. Well, the former Attorney General, Akufo-Addo, says the NPP government was aware of the constitutional bottlenecks and requirements prior to the creating of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. He's asking the Special Prosecutor to write to the Attorney General for authorization to continue with his prosecutions.
So we know that until Article 88 is amended, there is no way that you can give authority to any other person to prosecute. So what is stopping the Office of the Special Prosecutor from seeking the authorization as is contained in both the Constitution and its own Act to enable him prosecute? But we thought, in politics, you try to sometimes play to the gallery and try to see if you can, gain some support from the public. So we said, well, this is what we intend to do. We'll create an office of a special prosecutor and give him powers to prosecute when it comes to corruption. But we know that it will be well nigh impossible until we amend Article 88 of the Constitution. And that has not been done. So this is nothing new.
Well, as the controversy intensified, former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Nkawie, under whose leadership the OSP Act was passed, says the Constitution is clear. Prosecutorial authority rests solely with the Attorney General. He argues that any attempt to grant similar powers to another body can only stand if backed by a constitutional amendment.
From the beginning, some of us made some of these remarks. The Attorney General is the sole prosecutor in this country by law. So says the Constitution. Therefore, if we want to create some other body or authority, we must be careful in doing that. And I believe that in future, like I said not long ago, all our institutions must be made stronger, and we should stop making or legislating the proliferation of institutions. The institution that is there to do a job, give it every authority, every facility, every human power, every ICT resource, anything, so that they can deliver. And if we find it necessary, then we dissociate the Attorney General from the government, because that's the fear of an attorney general not prosecuting members of the government. So this is something that must be finally resolved. I trust that it will go finally to the Supreme Court. Then we shall know for sure that in actual fact, the constitutional provisions we give the Attorney General as the sole authority to prosecute cannot coexist with another organization until the law of the Constitution is changed.
The law was passed during your time as the Speaker of Parliament.
Oh yes, I'm very, very much aware of that. But you see, the Speaker doesn't vote. The Speaker may only express a personal opinion, but nevertheless, the members must vote. It is not a strange ruling at all. We must soberly look at it and then come to a conclusion on the law.
So you agree with the courts yesterday?
I said that very recently, because the Constitution makes a provision. And I happen to be a very legalistic person. If it's against the law, it's against the law.
To explore this further, join me now is Edem Senanu. He's an anti-corruption campaigner. We appreciate your time here on JoyNews Prime. I'd like to start with your initial reaction. We're hearing from the Attorney General tell us that he's going ahead to take over all the cases under the office of the Special Prosecutor, citing that High Court's ruling.
It's amusing and amazing how politicians can begin to turn things upside down. I mean, the ruling of the High Court was in a specific case of the rice import scandal. To all extents and purposes, the issue before the High Court judge had no basis to deal with an issue of cases that the OSP had and whether he should hand them over to the AGs or otherwise. So that ruling cannot be used to suggest that the AG has right now to take over cases of the OSP. That is very amusing. You can't stretch that ruling by any, means to say that, therefore, the AG is going to take over the case. Now, I think the substantive issue and the apparent agreement across party lines is very interesting. The Constitution in Article 88 clearly establishes that prosecutorial power can be delegated by law. It is spelled out black and white there. Prosecutorial power can be delegated by law. Do we have a law? Yes, we do. Act 959 was passed by Parliament in 2018. The majority agreed, and all of us who analyzed the situation were clear in our minds when it was passed. Beyond that, LI 2374 was also passed, signed by Gloria Akufo, authorizing the OSP to begin with. So the authorization they are talking about has already been provided by Gloria Akufo. So people should stop trying to confuse the public, deceive us, and think that we cannot see through what they are trying to do.
We heard today from...
The politicians seem to now have become afraid of the baby they gave birth to and trying to throw the baby in the bathwater away and think that Ghanaians' eyes are closed.
Adam, today we heard from the former Attorney General, Akufo-Addo, and he tells us that whilst creating this office, the Office of Special Prosecutor, they were well aware of the legal bottlenecks, but they were playing to the gallery.
That's very amusing. You mean all the parliamentarians he presided over, they took a decision that he knew was in error, and he's waited how many years to now come and say so? I mean, come on. Look, it was not just Parliament that worked. Civil society, all of us looked at it. Just open Article 88 and read it. It is very clear. Prosecutorial power can be delegated by law. And that has happened. So they should stop trying to pretend that the Constitution doesn't allow this, it has to be amended. Please. The Constitution is very clear. It has spelled it out. LI 2374 was signed by Gloria Akufo. They have been authorized. If they are afraid, please, they should go and make sure they are behaving as dutiful, conscientious citizens. They are not engaged in corruption. The OSP will not come after them. It is clear that the OSP is becoming so effective, they want to run away.
Thank you so much, Edem Senanu, for your time here on JoyNews Prime.
Well, still on legal matter, the Chief Justice, Justice Paul Bafuboni, has acknowledged the bottlenecks within Ghana's judicial system and says steps are being taken to improve efficiency through digital tools. He was speaking at the launch of the Supreme Court 150th anniversary themed Honoring the Past, Celebrating the Present and Defining the Future. My colleague Gemma Apia has more in the following report.
At a ceremony, Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni paid tribute to past and present Supreme Court justices for their role in shaping the justice delivery system. He acknowledged existing challenges, but assured that the judiciary will continue to improve efficiency through the use of technology.
We must ask ourselves honestly, are we where we should be? Should congestion and delays still burden our courts? Should we still lean so heavily on manual processes in a digital age? Should access to justice in too many cases still hinge on geography, cost, or time?
Deputy Minority Whip Jerry Ahmed Shaib cautioned against any politicization of the judiciary.
Together, let us declare hands off the judiciary. We must define the future with boldness. Let us modernize our courts, embrace digitalization, expand access to justice, and strengthen legal education. Let us build bridges of collaboration between Parliament, the executive and the judiciary.
Deputy Attorney General Justice Rimsai also warned against calls to abolish jury trials, stressing that technology should instead be used to strengthen the system.
We do not think that jury trials should be abolished. We believe that technology has come and would assist us to improve jury trial systems. So, for example, we have the digital address system, we have the national identification system, all of which will help us to be able to diversify the jury system and to also educate the populace to understand that justice cannot be fully done without the participation of the people.
Representing the executive, Deputy Chief of Staff Nana Oyebampo assured government support for the judiciary.
Courts must continuously extend the boundaries of law within the limits of rationality and good governance. The Supreme Court was abolished twice by military government and returned twice. You cannot permanently remove the need for justice in Ghana.
This year marks 150 years since the ordinance that re-established a formal judicial system in the Gold Coast was passed, laying the foundation for modern justice in Ghana. Gemma Apia, JoyNews, University of Ghana.
Well, away from that, let's head now to the Ashanti region, where a 26-year-old man is in police custody after allegedly attempting to steal an armoured vehicle belonging to the Ghana Police Service at Nkawie in the Ashanti region. The police say the incident occurred on Wednesday when a service driver parked the vehicle near the Nkawie market to buy medication, leaving the engine running. The suspect seized the opportunity, drove off with the vehicle, but was arrested after a 30-minute chase by a SWAT team on the Bwakwa-Kumasi stretch. The vehicle has been retrieved and the suspect transferred to the Ashanti Regional CID for further investigations.
Well, away from that, the minority in Parliament is demanding an immediate halt to a 700 million Cedi loan facility approved for Phase 2 of the NPRA headquarters project. They questioned the move, citing that Phase 1 remains unused despite significant public investment. Now, speaking to journalists, Old Sarfo MP Vincent Eko-Isafua called on the finance minister to suspend the process pending a full independent review. There's more in the following report.
The old Sarfo Member of Parliament reveals that the first phase of the project was funded with large sums of state resources, but instead of management commissioning and utilizing it, they have decided to proceed with the second phase, which he believes is not a prudent use of public funds.
The NPRA committed a lot of money in building the first phase of the headquarters of the NPRA. And today, if you move along the N1 highway, that facility is there, uncommissioned, unused. We have a certain NPRA CEO who has also taken pensioners' money, about 700 million Ghana cedis, to go and expand that headquarters. A headquarters that you have not even used. A headquarters that you have not even commissioned.
He further raised serious concerns over what he describes as a questionable payment of 4 million cedis to a former chief executive of the authority for consultancy services.
Despite the establishment of a fully fledged directorate for micro pensions, Mr. Chris Bodi-Mensah is also reported to have appointed the former CEO, the former chief executive officer of the NPRA, Kofi-Addo, who served during the first administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as a consultant on micro pensions at a reported cost of 4 million Ghana cedis.
He calls on the President, the Finance Minister, and leaders of key trade and worker unions to step in and bring an immediate halt to what he describes as the ongoing exploitation of pension funds.
We call for the immediate suspension and independent review of the 700 million Phase 2 facility proposal associated with Mr. Chris Bodi-Mensah's administration, including the necessity, repayment terms, pricing basis, and long-term impact on contributors' returns.
Vincent Asefua also spoke about what he describes as politically motivated transfers of staff at the NPRA, which he says ultimately come at a cost to pensioners.
We are also informed that 11 staff politically motivated transfers have been executed within a short period, each reportedly costing approximately 90,000 Ghana cedis.
The concerns raised add to growing calls for transparency and accountability in the management of pension funds and to restore confidence in the system. For Joy News, Fatao Bayega, Accra.
Let's shift our attention now to environmental matters now. Lake Bosomtwe could lose its UNESCO biosphere reserve status for an encroachment and destruction along its protected banks. Authorities warn the damage poses a serious threat to the already receding water body. A joint team has begun efforts to track down those responsible. Emmanuel Braikweku reports from Kumasi.
April 14th, residents along Lake Bosomtwe woke up to earth-moving equipment destroying a parcel of land they had conserved for biodiversity. Large tracts of ecological land spanning 3 communities along the banks of the lake have been destroyed by an unknown private developer. In 2012, the Asante Region II led efforts to grow vast environmentally friendly indigenous trees along the banks of the water. Residents like Kwame J, who joined the tree planting exercise, are unhappy.
We
are really worried. We nurtured these trees to grow, only for them to be cut down in just a day. Visibly worried over the destruction, Programs Manager at Arocha Ghana, Prosper Kwame Ntribu-Esiakon, explains the ecological importance of the zones to the water body.
If this is happening, then what we are going to see over the period is that when it rains, there's going to be erosion, and then we're going to have a high level of sedimentation. It means that the lake will continue receding. Not only that, because of farming and then also looking at the scape, it means that with this place cleared and opened, we're going to have even chemical wash and other things also into the lake.
There are concerns the recent developments on the ecologically reserved zone have serious implications, including the water body losing its international recognition as a biosphere reserve by UNESCO. Dr. Abna Dufire Breman is with the Water Resources Commission.
According to the statutes of the biosphere reserve, every 10 years, there's a review process, and we are currently in the 10th year. If we do the review and it is seen that the core area and the buffer area has reduced, it means that we lose that opportunity to still be a biosphere reserve.
Meanwhile, the EPA has directed a halt in the operations around the lake until investigations are completed. Dr. Jackson Edia Nyantechi is the Ashanti Regional Director of the EPA.
So, however, based on the Environmental Protection Act 1124, we have issued an enforcement notice that is directing the person to halt further development. And then those people have also been invited to meet us.
For JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Now let's shift our attention to health now, because in rural Ghana, getting a newborn to advanced care can be a race against time. Poor roads, limited staff, and a lack of ambulances often put babies at risk during referrals. At a clinic in Apinkra, a midwife has improvised a simple solution to safely transport newborns. Irabana Kwe reports.
In the rural stretch linking Apinkra, Behinase, Niaso, and Kokorobikru in the Bosomtwe district of the Ashanti region, the journey to advanced medical care is as daunting as the emergencies that demand it. The roads are rough and uneven, turning every referral into a test of endurance for both caregiver and the child. At St. Mary's Anglican Clinic in Apinkra, where these communities resort for maternal and newborn care, the challenges begin long before the baby is placed in a vehicle. In 2016, when midwife Margaret Akun-Chakli was posted there, she was the only midwife on duty, attending deliveries, managing complications, and handling referrals, sometimes while caring for her own 6-month-old baby.
Every referral that is being done, the baby is being placed on our laps with the necessary items. Sometimes we even forget some of the things in the car.
On those bad roads, inside taxis not designed for emergency care, the situation became even more precarious. A fragile newborn on a midwife's lap, medical items scattered on car seats, and the constant jolt of the journey made even basic care difficult.
Sometimes you need to suction the baby, sometimes even you need to give oxygen. But all these things on your laps, how can you do it?
In 2019, Margaret began working on a solution. What she created is now known simply as the emergency traveling basket. The basket is designed to securely hold a newborn during transfers, but more importantly, to withstand the realities of movement along rough and unpredictable roads. Inside it, there is room for the baby to lie safely. A provision allows for an intravenous infusion to be hung directly on the basket. A cord clamp is included for emergencies such as bleeding, alongside a thermometer for monitoring temperature.
We are seeking for help to do at least 100 baskets to demonstrate or to distribute it to the rural areas.
The basket does not fix the road, nor does it replace the ambulance, but it works within those limitations that turn a difficult journey into a more controlled one. For JoyNews, Erabna Akwe Kumase.
Well, we'll be right back with more stories on health. Plus, also we'll take you to Tamale, where ball boys are using their role on the sidelines to chart a path into professional football.
I'll do something.
Hey, Charlie, what number? The malaria really not free down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and your fufu. But I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing artemether and lumefantrine. Comes in tablets and suspension for effective treatment of malaria.
Great to have you back.
Thank you. No problem.
Malatu is suitable for adults and children. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
No matter where we wander, Africa always calls us home. And here in Ghana, Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking, together with clients like Gensa Energy and Goldfields, is driving sustainable growth.
The transition from fossil fuel to cleaner energy is quite imperative for the growth of a continent that we call home.
We want to contribute to delivering affordable gas for industrialization in Africa.
Stanbic is a bank that is focused on impacting lives, and Gensa has the same vision and mission.
Having a reliable source of power has helped our business and our operations in a significant way.
At Stanbic Bank, we bring businesses together, empower communities, and invest in the next generation. Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking, driving growth, creating impact.
Hey, what's up?
Life. It's moving so fast. Yesterday I was in class 4. Today I'm almost in JHS. My shoes don't fit me anymore. My voice is deeper. I was watching cartoons, but now they say I'm too old for that.
The more things change, the more they'll stay the same. I still love you the same.
Come and sit, Dad.
In a world that keeps changing, Calipo still keeps making sweet memories.
I still love it.
Dad, I told you to have a sip, not to finish it.
Calipo food juice drink, making sweet memories. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey! Is your tech holding you back? Feeling lost in a maze of outdated gadgets? Relax. Come with me to Country Garden.
Baba, see magic. Now I've been international fashion designer. Come on. No more pencil than talk matter beer. Coffee Ghana. Class in
Oh, number one.
Ghana, we don't just sell electronics, we transform your life. From office to home appliances and more, we have everything you need to step into the future.
Country Ghana, class in Country Ghana, number one.
How may I help you today?
We'd like to open a bank account.
Sign here, sign here, sign here, and here. And now you draw direction to your house. I need your thumbprint. And I'll need your birth certificate too. No, I need the original.
A lot has changed since you bank like this. So have we. We've made it easier than ever to open an account online and bank on the go through our mobile app, online banking, and more. EcoBank, a better way to bank your way.
Sign here, and here.
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and Tonight, we're bringing you talent. Contestant number 1, let's bring Baby Girl. Let's bring... You did it for you.
Cut. Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber? For quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it they carry water, no wahala. Syntex pipe, it they make water they flow. Syntex, and you're strong, and you're tough.
My name is Ochame Kwan, and Alphabet City says I should tell you about the Easter promo. So this very Easter, Alphabet City is giving out 11% discount on the full price of this beautiful semi-detached 4-bedroom. And they are saying that if you are buying within this month of Easter, because of the grace, they are going to give you free solar panels. And I repeat, free solar panels. The Easter Grace is available for all. Secure your home with only 20% deposit of the full price of this beautiful home, and it's going to be yours forever. So call 0240 111 119. Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Other stories now. Healthcare delivery in Ga and some surrounding communities in the Wa West district is set to improve with the commissioning of a 2-bedroom nurses' quarters at the local health center. Until now, nurses and midwives had no accommodation, forcing them to rent rooms in nearby communities. The situation often delayed their response to emergencies and affected service delivery. Rafik Salam reports.
One of the major challenges faced by the Ga Health Center is the lack of accommodation for nurses and midwives posted to the health facility. Nurses and midwives posted to the clinic, who later was upgraded to the status of a health center, had to look for accommodation in the Ga community, where they rent and shared with the indigents the few habitable rooms in their compounds. The initiative had further boost from the Wa West Member of Parliament, Superintendent Retired Peter Lenchinotobo, who came in with a monetary support of over 40,000 Ghana cedis.
What you are seeing behind me is a 2-unit nurses' quarters to assist the development of the Ga Health Center. Many a time you come here in the night and you cannot find the nurses. They don't live here. They have to go and sleep somewhere. Under emergency, you have to go and wake somebody up. So the community appealed to me that they wanted to start something and they wanted my support. I supported them for the past 1 year, and the results, with the communal spirit of the community, is what we are seeing behind.
And then retired Peter Lenchinotobo, in addition, handed to the facility some consumable and non-consumable drugs.
Well, as people know me, they call me Action MP. When I say it, I do it. If you request for it and I have it, I get it done right now. They requested for thermometers. I've given them money now to go and buy. They've requested for glucometer. I've given them money to go and buy. They've requested for fans because some of the rooms are too hot. In this weather where you can have about 40 degrees temperature, we don't have air conditioning. But I've given them money to buy 3 fans this afternoon. I think this afternoon I've done a lot. Just because at the spur of the moment, they are asking for it, and I wanted to show them that leadership is all about commitment, leadership is all about honesty, leadership is all about walking the talk. What I can do, I will always do.
In the Upper West Region, health workers in that part of the country are raising concerns over burnout and poor working conditions. At a debate in Wa, nurses and midwives called for urgent improvement in welfare and support systems. They say many frontline staff are overstretched, under-resourced and emotionally drained. Regional correspondent report from Wa.
Leading the charge, Upper West Region Minister Charles Wongo Pozun acknowledged that the severe challenges facing caregivers are a matter of national responsibility. He recognized nurses and midwives as the backbone of the healthcare delivery system, serving as a critical first point of contact from urban centers to the most remote communities.
Yet, even as you give so much of yourselves, it is evident that many of you continue to work under conditions that do not fully reflect the value of yourselves. The long hours, the emotional and psychological strain, the resource constraints, the limited support systems are realities that cannot and must not be ignored.
APA was Deputy Director of the Ghana Health Services, Abare Tahiru Mohammed, representing Regional Director of Health Services, highlighted the glaring irony that nurses and midwives do not receive free health care when they fall sick in the very facilities where they dedicate their lives.
Who cares for the health worker? I said nobody. And so to me, it is time that we should start thinking about ourselves. We should start thinking of how we work. We should should start thinking of how we live, and then you start thinking, in case of a problem tomorrow, how do I get help?
National President of the Union of Professional Nurses and Midwives Ghana, UPNMG, Maxwell Odroyabo, lamented the intense pressure faced by staff.
The caregiver must be cared for by policy. We are asking for a renewed policy commitment to health workforce welfare as a development priority.
The debate concluded with a unified consensus. While healthcare professionals remain fully committed to saving lives, the survival of Ghana's healthcare system now heavily depends on the government and institutions finally stepping up to care for the caregiver. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
The Center for Social Justice is calling for stronger policies to improve financial inclusion in Ghana's informal sector. It says limited access to credit remains a major barrier for workers. Despite accounting for nearly 80% of the workforce, many remain outside the formal financial systems. Nancy Kumsin has more in the following report.
About 80% of Ghana's workforce operates in the informal sector, yet many remain outside the formal financial system. To address this gap, the Center for Social Justice, in partnership with Star Ghana Foundation, engaged stakeholders to explore practical ways to improve financial inclusion and social protection, especially for women traders and peasant farmers. At the National Policy Dialogue, Deputy Chief of Staff Nana Akufo-Addo highlighted key challenges, including limited access to credit and the absence of insurance and pension schemes, while outlining steps government is taking to improve the situation.
The 24-hour economy program. We have the Ghana Women's Development Bank, the Moniyo Pension Initiative for informal sector workers, legalization of Okada, were all policy proposals made to the millions of Ghanaians, and this is a reason to believe that their work will finally be seen, be valued, and very importantly, be supported.
Executive Director of the Center for Social Justice, Professor Alexander Minu, pointed to access, awareness, and lack of tailored financial products as major constraints within the sector.
The informal sector suffers the challenge of the bureaucracy and then the unavailability of what they call collaterals. And if they have the money to build collaterals, they wouldn't be coming for the loans in the first place. So if you talk about access, there is that challenge. And then after that, awareness. Sometimes there are packages that are available for the informal sector to be able to access, but they don't know about them.
The Ministry of Finance says it is developing a national financial inclusion and development strategy to better serve informal workers. Patience Akobuam is head of financial innovation at the ministry.
What we are going to do is that we are going to incorporate the needs, solution-oriented, needs of the people into the strategy, and that will be implemented. Of course, it's going to be done with the regulators on board and with other stakeholders.
The centre says it will continue working with stakeholders to expand access and strengthen financial protection for workers in the informal sector. Nancy Kumson's report read to you.
Well, flooding along the White Volta, worsened by erratic rainfall and recurring spillage from the Bagri Dam, is destroying farms and deepening poverty in parts of Ghana's northeast region. The situation is turning once thriving agricultural communities into zones of loss, uncertainty and survival. Seiram Abla D'Souza has today's episode of Climate Evidence from Nalerigu in the Nalerigu Gambaga district and Wulugu.
Along the banks of the White Volta, the story of farming is no longer just about planting and harvest. It is now a story of loss, uncertainty, and survival. In Nalerigu, in the Nalerigu Gambaga district, and Wulugu in the West Mamprusi municipality of the Northeast region, What used to be fertile fields of maize and rice are now flooded plains, washed away in a matter of hours. Lamisi Ayebu is a rice farmer. She says repeated flooding along the White Volta River, coupled with spillage from the Bagwe Dam in Burkina Faso, has destroyed her livelihood.
Soybeans, insurance team be chimfa yaduane nyina so ame nya bi na hanso ahokyere o ha yenni sky de be aye business.
Experts say the problem is worsening. Professor Asa Muhammad of the University of Technology and Applied Sciences explains that the area has become increasingly flood-prone due to changes in the river structure.
Look at the volume of water that comes in, and we talk about the perennial flooding. You take any drone shot or just try to move by motorbike along the water from Sapelga, let them go far, just to Boku, the Boku area. You see that the river is silted. So it is not that so much excess of water that is coming into it, but the little that even comes will definitely flood because the depth of the river has reduced drastically.
For generations, the White Volta River sustained livelihoods. Today, it threatens them.
Every year, whenever we farm, the water comes and destroys it.
Professor Asa Muhammad is proposing measures to mitigate the impact of flooding along the White Volta River.
Even if you just cross Burkina Faso, trees are well planted along the Volta. If you go there, the river is more deeper, it's not silted. Animals don't go any part of the river to drink. There are designated locations for the river for animals to enter into the river. These are all measures to prevent siltation.
For Joy News, Seiram Abla de Souza's report.
This in partnership with CDK in Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
And that's how we wrap it on Mainline. And up next will be Showbiz. But before that, let's head now to Tamale and tell you about the ball boys. Well, they are the quiet drivers of the game of football, keeping play flowing from the sidelines. Being selected as a ball boy is a privilege. Bringing them closer to the football they love. My colleague Emmanuel Jivenu was at Tamale Sports Stadium speaking to some ball boys determined to take it one step at a time and also transform their career into professionals soon.
It's match day here at Tamale Sports Stadium. About 15 young players arrived early, hoping to be among the few selected to stand along the sidelines for the game between Real Tamale United and TF Exponential Football Club. Most of them come from the juvenile side of Bagabaga Football Club. Serving as ball boy is often seen as a privilege.
My name is Yaya Fais, and I come from Sanaru. When I came here, when they play ball out, I'll pick the ball. The ball is lying down, I'll give it to them and come and cut the ball they play out and go back and sit down.
Being at the stadium gives Yaya constant exposure to professional football. He studies how players control the ball, make decisions, and position themselves on the pitch. He then takes what he learns back to his own training sessions.
When I sit, I'll concentrate on the ball. When I come here, I'll learn the way they control ball, and the way they chase ball, the way they head ball, and others. I'm a ball boy. I come here when the ball is out. I'll pick it and give it to them. When the ball is out again, I'll pick it and put it on the markers. I do that because I want to play like them.
For Sharif, Yaya, and many others. The stadium provides lessons and inspiration. Their coach believes that exposure to senior players is key to shaping their future in football.
Yes, they have talent, very talent, but in terms of support is not there. He will learn from the seniors. He will learn and then behaving. And this guy, he watching everybody. So after the match, when you ask him, he will tell you.
When I watch, I'll copy some in my head. When I go to the park, and I'll do some. If I can do it, I'll do it. Because when you play, a rich man saw you. We send you to the place where the ball comes from. Then we play it. When you play, they will now start paying you.
These boys spend every match day very close to the game they love. They chase balls, quickly return them to the field, and watch their role models up close. But when we spoke to them earlier, most of them wear torn boots, some barely holding up. But today we decided to do something small but meaningful, because sometimes all a dream needs is a pair of boots. I wanted to try if this would go. Sharif, how did the ball go? Some of the world's biggest stars, including Messi, Neymar, and Harry Kane, once stood on the sidelines as ball boys before rising to stardom. Seeing where they started and where they are now makes the sidelines feel like the first chapter of a much bigger story. If this support helps these budding players stay focused and believe in their potentials, then it is truly worth it. Emmanuel Chivenu, JoyNews, Tamale, Northern Region.
Well, it's showbiz time and Becky is here. Becky.
Hello to you,
It's
Calony.
a Thursday.
Yeah, it's my day. Let's focus on the film industry and talk about the Ohima project. In partnership with the Black Star International Film Festival and Unimark IFT has launched a masterclass to guide Ghanaian creatives in telling stories that travel beyond the borders. Hosted by the Black Panther star Abba Arthur, the session explored how local stories can resonate globally while staying culturally authentic. Attendees, including students and industry professionals, gain practical tools to strengthen Ghana's film industry and elevate its presence on the world stage.
The Ohima Project, in collaboration with the Black Star International Film Festival and Unimark IFT, held an insightful masterclass on creating stories with both local authenticity and global appeal. Titled, Creating Rooted Stories for Global Impact, Authentic Storytelling Beyond Borders. The session was hosted by acclaimed filmmaker and storyteller Abba Arthur.
The goal is to tell stories that connect to the globe. How do we tell stories that everybody can relate to?
She addressed how Ghanaian filmmakers can maintain authenticity while appealing to global audiences.
It goes back to collaborating internally before we collaborate externally. We're very talented as a people, and that's something that we also need to take ownership of. No, we're doing very well. We have events like this. We have the film festivals. We have so many opportunities to get connected to the film communities. It's about collaboration. And it's about supporting other people and also being in spaces where you can have conversations with others, network, so that you can take your film further.
Director for the Black Star International Film Festival, Mr. Owusu Ansa Castro Sapong, spoke on why BSIFF chose to collaborate with the Ohima project.
She is someone who is keen on her roots, and we as a festival in Ghana and being an international festival, we thought it wise to make her our ambassador for diaspora. Aside that, we thought it wise to partner her, help give back to society. We started with students, and we are looking forward to also open up and do more for filmmakers at large.
He also spoke about this year's Black Star International Film Festival, slated for September 2026.
This year's Black Star International Film Festival is happening in Kumasi from the 24th to 27th of September. And the reason being that Kumasi has been the backbone of Ghana film space for some time now. And I'm entreating young filmmakers, old filmmakers, new generation, old generation, whoever, to submit their films to the festival. There are a lot of opportunities to tap into during the festival.
The Ohima Project Masterclass is a wake-up call that with guidance, collaboration, and dedication, Ghanaian creatives can bridge the gap between local storytelling and international recognition, elevating the country's film industry to new heights.
Away from that, Robert Clark, head of public events and communication at Charterhouse, organizers of the Telecel Ghana Music Awards, has disclosed that they are struggling to secure a befitting venue for this year's event. With less than a month to the award ceremony, Robert says they are still scouting for a place for the program. He spoke on Hit FM this morning.
He's a rock star. To me, I feel like young guys in Nabano, Obia go to level and do Kwame.
We had an amazing time in Akufo-Addo. Less than a month came to represent. So you know, we are of that particular energy, the energy that Cove Town gave us. You know, we are using that particular energy to drive.
It's Cove City, please.
Sorry, that Cove City gave us. We are using that energy to drive into the finale.
And I've seen a touch of glamour.
It's a touch of glamour. Yes. So what we're doing now is we are building up and getting ready for the 9th. The only thing we cannot share with you right now, again, is still the venue. And the venue issue.
Wait. Today's date is what?
16
April. The event is on 9th
of May.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
And we don't know venue. Why? Again, are you sure we are doing TGMA this year?
I'm beyond sure.
Virtual.
I'm beyond sure.
9th May.
I'm beyond sure.
I still don't have.
But we know you have a venue that you do at the Grand Arena.
Is there?
Yeah, so
why are you not advertising that?
Unfortunately, the Grand Arena is not available.
It's been taken.
It's no longer. Yeah, it's no longer available for us.
Why?
Well, the information available is that it's no longer available. It's not.
Before we go, Ghanaian singer Fameye has sparked fresh debate in the music industry after declaring that no young artist in the country can match Kwame Euge's GOAT level, insisting the award-winning hitmaker stands in a league of his own due to his consistency, hit records, and undeniable influence.
Kwame Euge is a rock star. To me, I feel like young guys in Nabano, Obia go to level and do Kwame Euge.
Wow.
Yeah. When it comes to artists that what features are Bulu, on one guy's hit songs, you're tiny Nissan, also Yankupon Gusu Shanumi Adiawaye. I love him. I've been to his studio so many times, and he cares about everybody. You know, baby say now we want to say I just want to say hey, only Matilda about your hard. You know, sometimes he might say certain things that doesn't sit well with you, but that's fine because maybe one sometimes it's me to me kabibia ebetia on, so it's like that.
Yeah.
Well, on that familiar note, we end showbiz here on JoyNews Prime. It's always a lovely time here with you, Carlos.
Thank you so much.
You want to say shout outs to the people behind the scenes, making sure that's where.
Our director,
Derek.
David is there.
We love David.
Yeah, and Esther.
Esther.
And Samani also.
Oh, yeah, there's a doctor in the building.
Yeah, Dr. Samani.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Our doctor.
Well, that's all we have time for. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. And, of course, Pius Kojobaka will be here with Prime Business. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Putting on just the fabric isn't really enough. You have to put on your confidence. I chose this printed fabric because it symbolizes hope and success because of the color and the texture. Maso Printex.
Miss VIP Magnetic Perfumes.
Hi, it's me. The one you poke, sip, and hopefully love. I'm your small reminder that growing up doesn't mean growing out of me. Trends come and go, but you still reach for me. I'm not just a drink, I'm that little sip that reminds you life can still be sweet. Calipo fruit juice drink, making sweet memories. This advert is FDA approved.
If you got involved in an accident and you needed a surgery, that place they'll put you, what do they call it?
That's a theater.
That's a theater. The doctors, before they start operating on you, they put you on some kind of a platform. Can we call that a stage? Before they start your surgery, are they going to put on lights? Do they wear their coats and all that? Can we call it costume? All the scalpels and knives and stuff they use, can we call them props? If it is a teaching hospital, they have other students watching the surgery. Can we call them an audience? Those same doctors, some people will go to them with depression, and because they have no drugs for them, they would recommend a theater, our kind of theater, for them to come and watch a show so they can laugh, and they call it therapeutic. So how different is my theater from their theater? I didn't become a medical doctor, but I am a doctor. Do I ever see myself getting into politics? We would be idiots if we all don't. Producers like, Charlie, if I ask them about why, I want to ask you. Gen Zs are not lazy at all. They're actually very smart. We are the ones who are dumb. I've been trying to bring to Ghana for a while. I just haven't found the money.
Oh, Charlie, George is crying again.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojobaka. The city is poised for additional declines, though the year end even after posting its strongest first quarter performance since at least 2021, as seasonal import demand and energy payments weigh on the currency that has nonetheless staged one of Africa's more remarkable recoveries from debt crisis low. Details in this report.
The cedi fell 4.4% against the dollar in the first 3 months of 2026, closing March at 10 cedis 98 pesos. This was the lowest quarter-one loss captured in a 6-year data set in Black Star Group's analysis for the period. The development puts it around half the 8.7% average first quarter depreciation over that period. The currency has held near those levels in early April, with the Bank of Ghana's interbank mid-rate quoted at 11 cedis 2 pesos on April 13. The turnaround has been anchored by an International Monetary Fund program, debt restructuring, particularly the domestic debt exchange program, and a surge in gold export earnings to $20 billion in 2025, more than double the prior year. The cedi gained approximately 40% against the dollar, over the course of 2025, one of the strongest currency performances globally that year. First quarter depreciation has tracked that recovery as it stood at 20.6% in quarter 1 2022, 12.7% in quarter 1 2023, 10.8% in quarter 1 2024, 5.5% in quarter 1 2025, and 4.4% in quarter 1 2026, bringing the 6-year quarter 1 average to 8.7%.
On the back of that, the head of finance at Merban Capital, Nelson Kudjo-Kwagbeji, says government must put in place measures to increase the sale of gold to stabilize the Ghana Cedi.
The annual first quarter depreciation of the Ghana Cedi is not something new. I mean, as you rightly mentioned in the introduction, every year we do experience some level of depreciation. But then this year, I think that we have done very well in terms of the stability. Some of the factors, as you rightly mentioned, that actually account for the depreciation of the currency first quarter largely has to do with importers who try to restock their goods after Christmas, and also repatriation of profit by multinational companies in Ghana. And so going forward, in order to sustain the performance that we have done, I think we need to take advantage of the current gold prices to sell more. In any case, Ghana is now the first producer of gold in Africa, and so we need to sell more in order to rake in the needed effects. And then also last year, we had a lot of directives from Bank of Ghana regarding the operations of the FX market. I remember there was a directive regarding transacting business, invoicing and paying strictly in Ghana cedis. And so for us to sustain the gains that we have made, we need to enforce some of these directives from the Bank of Ghana whilst we try as much as possible to rake in the needed effects to support the Cedi.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has maintained that Ghana's commitment to implementing program reforms has contributed to current economic gains. Director of Africa Department at the IMF, Abebe Selassie, revealed this at the launch of the Regional Economic Outlook in Washington, D.C.
Speaking at Washington, D.C. for the launch of the Africa Outlook report on how various countries in Africa have fared and what are the threats to their respective economies, the Africa Director of the IMF, Abebe Selassie, noted that Ghana's change, growth, and development in the economy over the past 1 year, and even since they started the program, is worth celebrating.
We have been very happy to see the continued improvement in macroeconomic outcomes in Ghana in the last year and a half, couple of years, after the difficult crisis that the government had, people of Ghana, of course, had gone through in 22-23. So that continued performance is really good, and it's on the back of continuing to implement the reforms that the government had identified as being important on the revenue side, addressing the challenges in the state-owned enterprises on the energy sector, clearing the path for recovery that we are seeing.
The Africa Director also highlighted some of the changes that are taking place in Ghana's economy, and Ghana must do everything to sustain these gains.
Growth-wise, we hope that this can be sustained, and really, for Ghana, I think it's going forward. It's really about how to make sure that the fiscal balance remains contained, and there is a continued balance between addressing development needs and avoiding that sustainability challenges.
And concerns about whether Ghana can sustain these economic gains and maintain fiscal discipline post the exit of the IMF program. This is what Abebe Selassie had to say.
The program has, or the commitments the government made under the program have ensured that. So it's about sustaining that in the post-program period. And I think, hopefully, the lessons of the recent past hopefully will be salutary, and going forward there will continue to be a decent path. But we're very optimistic about Ghana. I mean, the potential there, of course, is tremendous, and we're very hopeful that the economy will continue to grow from strength to strength.
Well, for the IMF, they believe that everything is in the hands of Ghana right now, and that whether we'll go for an 18 program or not, it will all be about their commitment to maintain fiscal discipline, even after August this year. But for the IMF, they believe that they have put in place the right structures that will see some fiscal discipline being sustained going forward. From the HQ building 1 here in Washington, D.C., with the International Monetary Fund, this is George Yaffe reporting for Joy Business.
Back home in Ghana, the Ghana Revenue Authority has reaffirmed its commitment to improving port operations through the deployment of the Public and Artificial Intelligence System to seal loopholes in tax administration. This follows growing dissatisfaction among stakeholders. Speaking at an engagement with the Association of Ghana Industries here in Accra, Commissioner General of the Authority, Anthony Sapon, said measures have been implemented to address the immediate challenges that result in the overcharging of duties and misclassification of imports.
The Association of Ghana Industries is engaging the Ghana Revenue Authority to address concerns over the implementation of the Pelican AI system at the port, which has triggered agitation among industry players. Speaking to Joy Business, AGI President Kofi Nsiapoku said the association supports the use of artificial intelligence to enhance revenue mobilization, but stressed the need to resolve operational challenges.
We've had good discussions with them. They have explained and even demonstrated how it works. We've asked our questions. They've been able to answer. The only issue we have is the time that they use in resolving the problem that we have, which they have agreed that they are going to improve. And the Commissioner General has already said that within 48 hours, he is going to make sure that all protests are resolved within 48 hours. And therefore, AGI's position now is that we support the Publican AI to be a system to be used to declare custom prices or invoice values or invoice declarations.
Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Sapon, has assured that all appeals related to the system will be addressed within 24 hours.
Before Publican, Customs Division of GRA already had a process called the appeals team, where importers or their agents had an issue. A group or a team of officers will sit together and look at the relevant issues and resolve for them. Following the implementation of Publican, we are giving ourselves the timeline to say when there's an issue from our importers or agents as GRA, will work on it within 48 hours and resolve. Because one of the important things we do is trade facilitation. And therefore, the process we have should not lead to delays. And therefore, resolving appeal issues within 48 hours will help us clear the issues, will allow importers to clear their goods in time, and on that manner, also able to reach the market and facilitate their business growth.
The Ghana Revenue
KGL Group has paid an amount of 150 million cedis as corporate income tax to the Ghana Revenue Authority. The company says this move is to fulfill its tax obligations to the state. Commissioner General of the Authority, Anthony Sapon, at the official presentation urged businesses and individuals to use the month of April, designated as the tax filing month, to honor their tax obligations. More in the following report.
KGL Group has announced the payment of 150 million cedis in corporate income tax to the Ghana Revenue Authority, describing it as a significant milestone in supporting Ghana's economic growth. Executive Chairman of KGL Group, Alex Dade, emphasized that the company remains committed to meeting its tax responsibility as a means of contributing to national development.
We are proud to present the outstanding payment of the 153,213,000 plus, representing our tax obligation for the year ending 2025. We cannot demand trust from society if we do not practice discipline ourselves. We cannot ask for policy support while ignoring governance. We cannot speak of patriotism while evading responsibility. We cannot demand national respect while treating workers, regulators, or communities as inconveniences. The companies that will define Ghana and Africa's future will not just be the most profitable. They will be the most trusted, the most resilient, and the most well-governed, and the most rooted in purpose. And that is what KGL stands for.
Meanwhile, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Sapon, disclosed that the authority is implementing measures to make tax payments more convenient for individuals and businesses. He also used the occasion to urge all eligible taxpayers to file their returns, noting that April remains a critical month for tax filing in Ghana.
This year, again, we are looking at reviewing the laws relating to income taxes, customs, tax laws, and excise. These are all major part of our regulatory reforms to ensure that we can make paying tax simple, fairer, and equitable. We call on all businesses to make contributions in this direction so that when the legal reforms are done, it inures to the benefit of businesses as well as to the state. On that note, again, I will continue to remind all of us, businesses and individuals, that this month is a tax filing month, and we use this opportunity to encourage all of us to file our taxes. And when we file our taxes, we make the contributions, we help to build the nation that we want.
The ceremony highlighted KGL's position that tax compliance goes beyond a statutory obligation and represents a shared responsibility in building a sustainable and reliant economy.
On taxes, the Ghana Revenue Authority has taken a decisive step to reinforce its revenue mobilization efforts, rolling out an intensive training program for senior officers aimed at improving efficiency, professionalism, and taxpayer engagement across the country. The initiative currently underway at the SEPS Academy Training School signals a renewed institutional focus on building a skilled and responsive workforce capable of driving voluntary tax compliance, an essential pillar for Ghana's economic stability and long-term development. Ivy Setoji reports.
The 5-day General Competency Development Training Program is underway at the SEPS Academy in Petue, bringing together senior staff of the Ghana Revenue Authority. The training has assembled senior revenue officers from all divisions of the authority across the country. It forms part of efforts to build the capacity of personnel and enhance efficient revenue mobilization. The program is designed to equip participants with the necessary skills and competencies to improve efficiency in the performance of their respective duties. Addressing the media during the opening ceremony, the Commissioner of the Support Services Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Alice Adumanko Mensah, urged Ghanaians to comply with the tax obligations, emphasizing that taxation remains key to national development.
Being a tax compliant will support Ghana to develop, because all over the world, they all get a tax to develop themselves. If you have to wait that the people will come from foreign place to support that, then we are joking. Now that they tell the things that we can't get a loan, where can you get a loan? The foreigners, they are not prepared to support us again. We are not going to get a loan. So if we are paying the tax, we can just deliver our own goods. Building the schools, paying the nurses, paying the teachers, all these things come back to us. The roads that the people are complaining, if you don't have tax, how do you control the road? So people may assume that if you are government, the money is there. The government get the money from the masses. So if the masses are not paying, then we have the problem. That's the reason why we advise our people to be more patient and considerate. Because if the people start that they are not operating our companies anymore, where are you going to get a tax? So if we encourage them to do their job, then you got our tax to settle all this that you want to settle.
The commandant of SEPS Academy Training School, Eric Boachi, underscored the challenges associated with tax collection, describing field operations as demanding and complex. He noted that engaging taxpayers and ensuring compliance requires a high level of skill, patience, and professionalism.
Revenue collection is a very difficult task. It means that we will need to sharpen the comprehensive human being from the physical to the brain. So whilst they are here, we'll take them through activities, outdoor activities, that will ensure that they are fit and purpose. And then we'll also go through the classroom work, which has been put in place. There are different courses to ensure that their skills level are sharpened, their understanding of the new tax laws
and the new things that they expected. Now the GRA mandate is to ensure that we push for voluntary compliance. What it means is that we need to approach our taxpayers, our clients, and treat them with respect and with diligence, and ensure that everybody is treated fairly in a transparent manner. So the whole academy I'm set up to ensure that when they come here, before you go, you are fit. So there will be a lot of outdoor activities to ensure that they are involved in physical activities to be fit for the purpose, and then they'll also be sharpening their brains in the classroom. And they'll also be involved in other activities to ensure that beyond the work, they also live as a proper human beings to be able to function.
Participants are being taken through PowerPoint presentation sessions to better understand the various categories of taxpayers and adopt effective engagement strategies. The training is also expected to strengthen teamwork and collaborations among staff of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Ivy Satoji, Joy News.
Away from tax matters, the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Matilda Santiesidu, is urging banks and other institutions to take deliberate and measurable steps to increase female representation in leadership across the banking sector. She emphasized that promoting women into top roles must go beyond rhetoric and become a core business strategy for banks. She spoke at the Bank of Ghana International Women's Day celebration.
Of Ghana Ladies Association International Women's Day celebration, the second deputy governor said Ghana's affirmative action targets require institutions to intentionally create pathways for women to rise into leadership.
And that's women giving to other women. So look next to you and ask the woman next to you, are you giving to other women? Okay, I can hear that. Okay, so I can hear that you are. Because you know that when we do, progress stops from being an individual endeavor to a collective and institutional endeavor. I mean, let's be honest. Many women have been told that there isn't enough seating at the table for them. But the truth is that if we think about it, the entire boardroom is actually available to us. So instead of us jostling over that one seat, why don't we create more room so more women can have a seat at the table?
The event formed part of activities to mark International Women's Day, bringing together staff and stakeholders to reflect on progress made and the work still required to achieve gender parity in leadership.
Years of underinvestment, aging and overloaded equipment have left Ghana's power distribution network under severe strain, prompting government's intervention. Energy Minister John Jinapor says a review exposed inefficiencies in ECG system where these factors have weakened distribution despite stable power generation. Details in this report.
The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has commenced phase 2 of government's transformer replacement and upgrade program at the Lashpi Primary Substation in the Tema region, following the successful completion of phase 1 at Major in Adenta. The Lashpi Substation, which serves surrounding communities, has relied on transformers in operation for over 2 decades, contributing to declining reliability and efficiency in power distribution. Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, says the intervention, driven by a comprehensive review that uncovered years of underinvestment, overloaded systems and obsolete equipment, will see the deployment of more than 2,000 high-capacity transformers nationwide, starting in Accra before expanding to Kumasi and other regions.
And the result shows that years of underinvestment, aging equipment, and lack of investment has really strained the distribution network. And so even as we are having enough generation, there are some pockets of challenges when it comes to the distribution network, because some of the transformers are old, some are overloaded, and we need to inject transformers. And so what you are seeing here is a national exercise which aims to address the distribution challenges that we are witnessing. I'm very happy with what the engineers are doing. I want to thank them. I want to thank the President for his leadership and also thank the Minister of Finance for his support. ECG intends to change over 2,000 distribution transformers. That's never happened in the history of this country. That's a massive massive investment.
While commending ECG's efforts, John Jinapor warned of possible shakeups in districts with poor performance, insisting on faster response to outages.
But the human element is also very important, and that's what I said, that if you're a district manager, you're a regional manager, we expect you to be up and doing. A lot of them are doing very good job, but we need to do more with others. And so I've asked the MD to set key KPIs so that we can monitor everybody. It's not everywhere that you have electricity 24/7. There are times that vehicles run into poles. There are times that normal challenges occur like any other country. But the response time must be swift. I'm happy that they are now doing what they call a double system, such that if you have challenge with one system, you can switch customers onto the other system. It reduces the level of outages. And so let me appeal to Ghanaians to bear with us.
The Lashibi upgrade is expected to be completed by close of Friday, with temporary power interruptions anticipated during the replacement process. Kwame Yankes reports for Joy Business.
MEST Africa, in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation, has announced 12 EdTech companies selected for the third cohort of the MasterCard Foundation Tech Fellowship. Now, the companies bring the number of Ghanaian-owned solutions accelerated through the fellowship to 36. More in this report.
The 2026 cohort exemplifies the EdTech's fellowship commitment to diversity and regional inclusion, with solutions spanning innovative learning tools, teacher training, and inclusivity, as well as learning platforms and exam preparation and gamified learning tools across 7 regions in Ghana. Since the program was launched in the country in 2024, the MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship, implemented by MEST Africa, has impacted over 691,000 learners across the country, and the current cohort will be building on this research. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the launch of the third cohort, MEST Senior Program Manager, MEST Africa, Angela Duhu, explained that the third cohort will cover a 6-month acceleration on capacity building and network expansion to maximize their impact on African education.
Today, actually, we are launching the third cohort of the MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship with 12 companies supporting teachers and learners. A lot of them are supporting both in and out of school learners and also teacher training programs. The goal is to make sure that we're able to grow these companies with their support from MasterCard Foundation, reaching at least 50% women and 15% learners with disability, and also 50% learners in the rural areas who are beyond the tarmac. The support that we give them is in two folds, right? One is to give them funding, which is necessary for them to grow their businesses, but also giving them the kind of support, the expertise, and the expert users to make sure that their solutions are able to scale and be sustainable in the education system, all with the goal of reaching learning outcomes and improving learning in Ghana.
Some selected companies from MEST Africa's 2026 MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship spoke to Joy Business.
We aim to refine our solutions, get mentorship to improve and scale up our impact to over 1.5 million learners in Ghana.
Online learning activities, of which we are going to onboard them into our LMS platform for them to learn on their own, at their own pace, and also bring out better learning outcomes.
We are hoping that through this program we can go to the schools and then provide them with some devices and then internet connectivity, mainly Starlink. We're also trying to get the communication companies to also help with that, so that the app can be totally, it's online but won't look like it. You can just use the app without any internet data at all. So we are hoping that MasterCard, the EdTech Fellowship program, can help with that.
The EdTech Fellowship was launched in 2019 by the MasterCard Foundation to support promising Africa-led own growth stage EdTech companies solving Africa's educational challenges.
Let's now go to the commodities market. Thanks very much for watching Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo-Baka. Benaya Dafemokwo is next with Prime Sports.
Overweight is not normal, but it's becoming normalized. And the higher the body weight you accumulate, the higher your risk or your chance.
Welcome to Consulting Room 5, only on JoyNews.
In fact, when somebody sees you and he sees that you are gaining weight, say, hey, now say,
good living.
It's a sign of good living. But underlying that, there can be health challenges.
Consulting Room 5 airs on the JoyNews channel on Saturdays at 3 p.m. and on Sundays at 6 p.m.
A lot of women are going through stigmatization because of being overweight or obese.
We create spaces to help people to be active in a very simple way. Starting from kids to everybody. You can go everywhere without paying anything. So it's shown that the environment is a key component to help people to exercise.
As part of our commitment to financial literacy, we want to help Ghanaians better understand what the Bank of Ghana does. Do you know what the Bank of Ghana does? Let's start with the basics. Bank of Ghana is not a commercial bank. Commercial banks are the ones you and I use. Bank of Ghana is a central bank. You cannot open an account there. You cannot apply for a personal loan. It does not compete for customers. The Bank of Ghana has a clear mandate by law. That mandate is, first, to ensure price stability. Second, to contribute to the promotion and maintenance of financial stability. Third, to promote economic growth and development. Let's briefly look at each one. First, price stability. Price stability means keeping inflation low, stable, and predictable. So the prices of everyday items that you and I purchase don't suddenly rise and make life harder for our households and businesses. Second, financial stability. It means keeping the financial system strong and reliable by supervising banks and other financial institutions, setting standards, and reducing the risk of instability, so money continues to flow safely between people, businesses, and banks. Third, supporting economic growth and development. When prices are stable and the financial system is strong, businesses can invest, people can access credit, and the economy can grow. To achieve these goals, the Bank of Ghana performs several key functions, including setting monetary policy, supervising banks and financial institutions, managing the country's currency, and overseeing payment systems. In summary, Bank of Ghana is not a commercial bank. Commercial banks serve you and I, but Bank of Ghana serves the financial system and the broader economy. It exists to maintain price stability, to preserve confidence in the currency, and to support a resilient financial system. That is what Bank of Ghana does.
The sea is coming closer.
the sea was far from us, it's not this near like the way it is now.
We are losing land.
There were them one, I mean, the meetings are then here.
Ilosu, Teshi, La, Labadi, Nungwa, homes are disappearing, walls collapsing, families displaced, history wiped away.
Not just Christian Lancaster, but several areas along the coast are vulnerable.
Rising tides, relentless erosion, a coastline under siege.
The government needs to come and help as far as the sea defense is concerned.
When the sea comes home, a JoyNews feature series.
For many, success is defined by one path, the white-collar dream.
I want to be a software engineer. I want to be a banker.
But when that door doesn't open, does it mean your story is over?
No, because there are other paths.
Paths built on passion, creativity, and courage.
From season 1 to 3, we've met dreamers who turned rejection into redirection.
They wanted to silence me.
And built success beyond the titles.
As the general manager for Kinafama, I felt this challenge right deep that I should work in the area of my gifting. I started writing.
Now, season 4 is here.
New stories.
Remember one kid who walked into my class and looked and said, "You are from Africa, right?" And I said, "Yes, that's why you are so black."
Deeper lessons.
I haven't been to sixth form, I haven't been to university. So everything that you hear me do, I've learned on the job.
More proof that the trail doesn't end when the white-collar job door closes.
I did attend an auditioning for Emirates cabin crew members, but I was not selected.
This is not just a show, it's a movement.
The Career Trail Season 4 with Irene Edubia Eni shows every Saturday at 4 p.m. on Joy Learning TV and 6:30 p.m. on Joy News.
The Career Trail, your success journey begins here.
Million Ghana cedis to relocate the passport office. So why is government not coming clean?
Everything has a meaning. For every story, there are many versions of what is true.
What we need to do is guarantee that kids will get an education. Go to Finland, go to everywhere else. The state that has not paid for people to go to boarding schools.
Every opinion can be debated. The political construct of the national interest can be interrogated, but some facts are hidden in the depths of interpretation.
The cost of the land at Emperor Residential, which government has just bought for them, but they are waiting for the construction of the ambassador's residence. You need to add that as well. The relocation of the judges, the cost of the construction of a permanent bungalow, then passport office. It costs us 10 million Ghana cedis to relocate the passport office. So why is government not coming clean?
So we check the facts, raise the standards of intellectual discourse, and present the issues on the altar of unbiased scrutiny. This altar is Newsfile, your most authoritative news analysis program.
We must practice independent, credible, and fearless journalism.
Newsfile with Samson Ladia Yenine.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Sports with me, Benaya Elom Dapamapo. Some 6 companies have contributed over 9 million Ghana cedis to support the fundraising committee put together by government to solicit support for Ghana's participation in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The companies are KGL Group, Serene Insurance, Ereta Motors, Icon Energy, Jewel Energy, and others presented the money to Deputy Minister of Finance, Thomas Nyako Ampim, at the Finance Ministry earlier today.
We have received a few donations, and I want to acknowledge Jewel Energy, who have paid 1 million cedis into the account. Icon Energy has also paid 1 million cedis. Today we have received 2 million cedis from Serene Insurance, plus a policy insurance policy worth 20 million Ghana cedis. So the Black Stars are grateful. We have also received from Erata Motors 200,000 Ghana cedis. We've received 100,000 cedis from Pay Angel, and today we just received 5 million Ghana cedis from KGL. That is part payment of the 10 million Ghana cedis pledge that they made on the day of the launch. We have received 240,000 Ghana cedis from an individual who didn't make the pledge but has sent the money to us. So we are grateful to all of you for the show of love for our Black Stars. Even though the first 2 friendly matches didn't go well, we are still optimistic that the Black Stars will go to the World Cup and make all of us proud. So every Thursday, we'll meet here and receive pledges. So those of you who are yet to redeem your pledges, you have the opportunity to do so between now and next Thursday. We will be having the media to capture that live. The process is transparent. All the funds are going directly into the account with the Bank of Ghana. Individuals, corporate Ghana, and institutions that are still touched to support the Black Stars, the door is still open for you to support this worthy cause. So thank you, and may God bless you all.
As preparations intensify for the FIFA World Cup, government and international organizations for migration are ramping up measures to tackle the threat of trafficking through sports. We have more for you in this report.
Trafficking remains a major global concern, with an estimated 40 million people affected worldwide annually. Many are forced into labor, while others are sexually exploited. In Ghana, the situation is also troubling, with more than 2,000 victims rescued in recent years. The problem is now taking a new dimension, with sports emerging as a major conduit. Young athletes, particularly footballers, are increasingly falling victims to fake opportunities abroad. Researcher and development consultant Dr. Johad Brima has been studying the trend.
One of the highlights of the findings are that majority of athletes are young people between the ages of 18 to 35, but there are also about 34% of the sample size are children below the age of 18, which means that the threshold for establishing trafficking for children is. But also one of the things that goes against the convention that athletes are not educated was found not to be the case, at least in the sample size. Majority of the respondents, over 80%, had completed senior high school, and a few in tertiary. This means that people in that category have the capacity to read and understand documentations, and given the right support, they will be able to read contracts, interpret it, and understand what risks there are, and if they need to verify, they can do so.
He warns the risks could increase ahead of the FIFA World Cup 2026 as traffickers and scammers take advantage of the global attention on sports to target unsuspecting Ghanaians.
But also one of the things that happen around major sporting events, which is the third typology of trafficking, is people being trafficked to work in the peripheries of these bigger events where some women are subjected to sexual exploitation around the sport, or doing bartending or cleaning or attending to the pitch or even stadium construction. So these are all different forms of trafficking that can take place within the upcoming event.
Speaking at the National Forum on Trafficking Through Sports, organized by the International Organization for Migration, the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Idi Adams, described the situation as deeply concerning and called for increased awareness and stronger action.
Across Ghana and Africa, thousands of young boys and girls grow up with one dream: to make it through sport. They watch Abedi Pele, Roger Miller, Samuel Eto'o, Azuma Nelson, and they believe that with talent and determination, they too can rise. But for too many of them, ladies and gentlemen, that dream is being manipulated. And that is why our presence here today is very critical and very important. In order that together, if we cannot eliminate completely, we will minimize this manipulation of this potential for wrong reasons.
On their part, the International Organization for Migration says it remains committed to promoting safe migration pathways and educating the public on the dangers of irregular travel linked to sports opportunities.
What is critical is how through this process we help protect athletes who would want to move, so that they have information in terms of what the channels are, what the pathways are, and when they move from a point not of vulnerability but of strength, knowing that they are well protected, the safeguard measures are there, the firewalls are there to protect them, and then they can fully realize their potential and then live the aspirations that they would want to do. We want to create more talents for Ghana. We want to unearth more talent. But if this is not properly done, and then we allow the negatives around migration to rear its ugly head, then we may expose this good talent to the dangers of irregular migration.
The forum, held at the University of Ghana, brought together diplomats from host countries, government officials, the media, and members of the public. It was held under the theme, Play It Safe, Choose the Right Path in Sports.
And still on the World Cup, Los Angeles Galaxy winger Joseph Paintel has slammed the decision of former Black Stars head coach Akufo-Addo to omit him from Ghana's 2022 FIFA World Cup squad. Now, Paintel said this in an interview with Vamos Network while reflecting on the infamous omission that stunned many football fans.
It means a lot. 4 years ago, I was really disappointed with the decision of the coach of the national team, which there was no tangible reasonable, thing of me being exclusive from the list. We had a lot of ups and down talks, and
was there miscommunication there, Joseph?
There was no miscommunication, but it was something that I think they already planned on it, and it's not something about me. It's not something about my performance. Nothing like that, because I spoke to the coach, and the coach was admitted I'm really good. I'm scoring goals and everything. And by the end of the day, the only answer he gave me is football is not about goals and assists. I was like, what is really going on? If football is not about goals and assists, then what am I even doing here?
Correct.
So there needs to be like a tangible explanation for a player whilst you are not being called. And he was the one that called me to tell me that. So I asked him, what was the reason that maybe I'm not in the squad? He told me, there's no reason, but the only reason is I don't defend. And I was like, I'm not a defender, I'm an offensive player. If it's for me to defend, I will in kind of situations in the game. Because I'm a player who is really quick and who can take players on and just make decisions. So my aim is just to do that and to help the team. If for me to defend, I can defend, but not throughout the game. I can track back, yes, but don't tell me to be like a defender and defending and just put in my attacking mindset somewhere else. because it's my attacking mindset that has made me who I am today and being in this kind of position. So there was no tangible explanation, and yeah, I was left behind, really disappointed. But you know, it's a national team. I always need to respect the call-up of the national team. I'm playing for the people of Ghana, not for an individual person. I'm always going to represent my country for the sake of the Ghanaians, for the sake of the people that pour their heart for the badge of the Ghana, and not the people that are surrounding the football, thing. But I'm just doing this for the Ghanaians to know my worth and to know that I can also, deliver also whenever I get the chance. And now that it's another World Cup in the United States, especially a country that I'm playing, a country I feel more comfortable with, especially with more players that I've played with also in this league, especially in the United States also. So it's really amazing for me to be here once again to have a taste in this World Cup thing. But we're just hoping and praying that the new coach will, do the needy for the best to take the best players to the World Cup to perform and to make Ghanaian proud.
They are the quiet drivers of the game of football, keeping play flowing from the sidelines. Being selected as a ball boy is a privilege, bringing them closer to the football they love. My colleague Emmanuel Jivenu was at the Tamale Sports Stadium speaking to some ball boys who are determined to one day step onto the professional stadium or on the pitch.
It's match day here at Tamale Sports Stadium. About 15 young players arrived early, hoping to be among the few selected to stand along the sidelines for the game between Real Tamale United and TF Exponential Football Club. Most of them come from the juvenile side of Bagabaga Football Club. Serving as ball boy is often seen as a privilege, giving them direct exposure to senior level football. For these young talents, it is part of a journey towards one day playing professionally.
My name is Yaya Faiz, and I come from Sanaru. When I came here, when they play ball out, I'll pick the ball. The ball is lying down, I'll give it to them and come and cut the ball they play out and go back and sit down.
Being at the stadium gives Yaya constant exposure to professional football. He studies how players control the ball, make decisions, and position themselves on the pitch. He then takes what he learns back to his own training sessions.
When I sit, I'll concentrate on the ball. When I concentrate, I'll see the way they are playing. When I go to train, I'll play like that. When I come here, I'll learn the way they control ball, and the way they chase ball, the way they head ball, and others.
Many of them train and work as ball boys wearing boots that are no longer in good condition. Basic football equipment is not always easy for them to afford.
Some parents don't have reach, don't have much. So boot and the football jerseys, this is important to have it, but most of them they don't have it. So it is challenges. But if you come to training, you look like a player. You look like a player. And so the challenges is boot and the jerseys for training.
I'm a ball boy. I come here when the ball is out. I'll pick it and give it to them. When the ball is out again, I'll pick it and put it on the markers. I do that because I want to play like them.
For Sharif, Yaya, and many others, the stadium provides lessons and inspiration. Their coach believes that exposure to senior players is key to shaping their future in football.
Yes, they have talent, very talent, but in terms of support is not there. He will learn from the seniors. He will learn and then behaving. And this guy, he watching everybody. So after the match, when you ask him, he will tell you.
When I watch, I'll copy some in my head. When I go to the park, and I'll do some. If I can do it, I'll do it. Okay. Because when you play, a rich man saw you. We send you to the place where the ball comes from. Then you play it. When you play, they will now start paying you.
These boys spend every match day very close to the game they love. They chase balls, quickly return them to the field, and watch their role models up close. But when we spoke to them earlier, most of them wear torn boots, some barely holding up. But today we decided to do something small but meaningful, because sometimes all a dream needs is a pair of boots. I wanted to try if this would go. Sharif, how did the ball go? Some of the world's biggest stars, including Messi, Neymar, and Harry Kane, once stood on the sidelines as ball boys before rising to stardom. Seeing where they started and where they are now makes the sidelines feel like the first chapter of a much bigger story. If this support helps these budding players stay focused and believe in their potentials, then it is truly worth it. Emmanuel Jivenu, JoyNews, Tamale, Northern Region.
That's how I wrap up the sports segment with me, Benaya Elom Dapamakwa. For more stories, you can log on to myjournline.com. Have a good evening.
Hey, Charlie, what number? The malaria really knocked you down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and your fufu. But I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing artemether and lumefantrine. Comes in tablets and suspension for effective treatment of malaria.
Great to have you back. Thank you. No problem.
Malatu is suitable for adults and children. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Seeing the Prentex fabric, I like the color, texture. I chose this design that suits my body type. It means a lot to me to look good, include